What is going on, guys? Joey Franzo here with Flex Training Systems, and today I want to talk about deloads. What is a deload? I think over time the word deload has been interpreted many different ways. I think some people see deload as kind of one thing. I'm gonna kind of give my take on a deload. If you guys know me, you guys know that I think we can interpret different things different ways. I like to I'll take a word and use it in a way that's not even been used before, just because I like using it that way, or I think it sounds cool to me. But in regards to the deload, I think traditionally a deload is a period of time where we're doing less than what we normally need to progress in order to allow for recovery to happen, allow for fatigue to kind of dissipate. And there's a lot of there's different ways of doing it. You can deload from volume, where you maintain your intensity, you just pull your volume down. You can do a deload from intensity, where you're keeping the weights light, you're still kind of pushing those, but you're not going as heavy. You can do a deload from both. Let's say your body's just really beat up and you need both, then you can do that too. An example from deload from intensity. Let's say you start off with a single, and then you have a set of 7 after. You might just skip the single, right, and just hit that set of 7, and you might drop the RPEs or percentages on the sevens, or maybe even cut the reps, right. The opposite could be instead of doing a single then sets of 7, maybe you just do a 3x3 at a moderate to high RPE depending on what you're trying to achieve. I think traditionally when people do deloads, they do way less, right? They do way less. When we think deload, it doesn't need to always be I do nothing, or take a week off, or do 50%. There are times for that, and this is where good coaching comes in. But I think one of the hardest things about coaching is kind of deciphering what the lifter needs in that situation. And then, if they are feeling a bit run down, kind of adjusting their deload in a way that allows them to kind of maintain their progress, let their fatigue kind of dissipate, let the body heal up some. But we don't want to, if you take a week off, that is going to do so many negative things to you, rather than just training with a little bit less intensity or going a little bit lighter. Some other kind of unspoken things that a deload can be used for is, let's say you're preparing for another phase in a training block. Maybe you're getting ready for intensity, you're getting ready for volume, whatever, you're about to taper for a meet. Tapering in a meet for itself kind of desensitizes the lifter from the amount of work they've been doing, while allowing their strength to kind of maintain. Obviously they'll lose some conditioning because they're not doing as much work, but after the competition, usually they can kind of respond. That's why sometimes you see, maybe not the first week or second week, but the third, fourth week in that volume block, they start to get stronger. They start to see crazy progress. That's just their body adapting to the volume. Even though you're still doing a 3x8, the last time they did a 3x8, there was fatigue there. There was it was a completely different training context. Then you run them through that intensity phase. They compete. Now, after competing, 3x8 is kind of foreign, right? 3x8 is going to be shock. 3x8 is going to kind of tell the body, oh shit, this thing is hard. I need to adapt to it. I need to get stronger, whatever. I'm just using 3x8 as an example. It could be 4x6. It could be whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. Maybe you're trying to work on cardio while you're doing it and stuff like that. But basically, it can desensitize the lifter from what they were doing and kind of prepare them for another bout, or basically getting their body ready to kind of move into that next phase, and respond better to something. Let's say I've had someone doing singles on deadlifts for a month, and I want to kind of they're kind of starting to get a little bit stale. I might take them out for 2 weeks and then bring them back in. There's a lot of different ways you can use dialing back, taking a half step back to hopefully gain a couple steps forward, in order to keep progress going. Anything that you do for too long, whether it be a diet, a certain form of stress, the body will adapt to it. So we need to kind of find a way, right, to maintain what we have built up while doing less of that. I know it sounds like contradicting, in order for the body to kind of forget, oh, I forgot what it felt like to do this thing, or hey, you haven't done singles. Here's a good example. Let's say you haven't done singles in a long time. When you start doing them again, they're going to feel heavy, right? They're going to feel super heavy. Maybe your strength isn't really that much less, but because, your body's just not used to holding that weight on your back, everything's going to feel heavy. And mentally, it can be crushing. We just got to understand, what's going on in that instance. So, again, deloads, there's many different things you can do with a deload. I think most people kind of overdo it on the deload. You want to pull back enough to kind of get whatever the goal is, to achieve whatever the goal is, right? If you have an injury that is kind of, let's say you have, like me, for example, I think I have like chronic pec strains. Let's say I deload from bench. I'm not going to just not bench that week. I might, if I bench 3 times a week, I might take out the middle day, do some shoulders that day, maybe go light the first day on bench, and then go slightly heavier at the end of the week. I'm still benching, but it's not like my traditional grind that I'm normally on, or whatever it is that I'm trying to achieve to bring my bench up. It's to allow, the goal of this deload would be to allow that injury, to address that injury, basically. So, I need to alter my deload for that goal. If you don't have any injuries and you're just getting ready for an intensity phase or something, maybe you want to dial back from everything so you feel fresh. How do you got to adjust your deload for that. But yeah, that's just a thought that I had that I wanted to share out there. A bit of a short video today. Yeah, I hope you guys are able to take something away from that. Peep the shop in the description if you guys want to support. Also, code FLEX10 if you want to save 10% on PR Breaker. PR Breaker is literally the complete pre-workout. It's got everything you need. It's IPF approved and all that good stuff, and it's made by a genuine guy who's an OG in the community who I definitely support. So, alrighty guys, thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you in the next one.